So, what is the best diet? I think the first thing we need to do is define the word diet. What does that mean? Is a diet something that you just follow temporarily to lose some weight? Is it some short-term thing? A lot of people have a negative association with the word diet. They think it's a starvation protocol or a deprivation period of deprivation. That isn't how I define diet. Diet is just how you eat, no matter what. So your diet is what you eat on a regular basis, and that's how we're gonna go off that for our conversation today. So what is the best diet? That's always the question, isn't it? And it's not so much of what is the best diet, but what is the best diet for this goal, or what is the best diet for you? I think there's actually a lot of decent quote unquote diets out there that despite some cliches and some dogma associated with them are pretty good frameworks. I actually, a Mediterranean-based diet I think is a pretty decent framework for a lot of people. Even a paleo diet I think is a pretty decent framework for people. And as long as you adhere to the general principles of eating whole foods that are close to nature, making sure that you're not overeating, that you're having plenty of colorful fruits and vegetables, quality meats, quality fats, etc. And you're not getting caught up in the dogma of it, because that's the dangers. You could be a paleo person, one of those, and you could eat anything that has paleo on the label, including little junk candy bars that are, I guess, technically paleo somehow. So I think it's better to just understand the general framework of these types of diets, which are, again, whole foods that are close to nature, as minimally processed as possible, that are very nutrient dense, right? That are you would find them normally on the perimeter of the grocery store, right? Other general principles are eating when you're hungry, not eating when you're not hungry, not snacking all the time, eating until you're about 80% full, or one of the tips that I like is to eat until you're more thirsty than hungry, right? When you feel like you need a drink, that's probably a good sign that it might be time to stop eating. Right? So, pick a framework that you think is going to work for you. And I'm not going to sit here, I'm not going to bash any particular one diet. I know people who've done well on just about any diet, whether it's paleo or Atkins or the Mediterranean diet or the zone diet. And, there's a joke that any diet works for 2 weeks. And that's largely true. But beyond that, for your goal, there's various other techniques that you can experiment with. Carb cycling, intermittent fasting, all these are great and they're fun, but I don't think they're very useful until you have a framework that is going to work really well for you. If I were to describe my framework, I would probably fall mostly into that paleo framework. Paleo plus grains and occasionally beer, sometimes pizza. I think it's also important to occasionally be able to enjoy yourself. Now, without getting in too much of a tangent, there was quite a period of time where I was very, very rigid with what I ate. I almost had no deviations. You would never see me going out for pizza and ice cream. And I think for people who are starting out, a much more rigid, strict, and technical approach is a good way to do it, because it's going to get results faster, it's going to get your motivation up quicker, and you're going to be less likely to fall off the wagon. But once you're in the habit of eating a very healthy diet, right, then it's hard to fall off that wagon. If you know what I'm saying. So I can go out and I have pizza and beer, and I can just be once a week, and I'm not gonna eat like that the rest of the week, right? Whereas before, when I was just starting out, it could be something like I'd eat healthy for 3 days, and then I'd eat healthy once, and then I'd be totally unhealthy again for the rest of the month, and then I'd try and start over. So that's a different discussion. But the point is, if you're starting out, sometimes it's better to follow a very strict, regimented approach to eat is clean. Clean is another word we could talk about. What the heck does clean actually mean? But I think generally people kind of understand what clean eating means. Try to avoid sugar, don't eat a bunch of candy or junk, don't eat alcohol, don't eat too much pizza, bread, flour, stuff like that, right? We're smart people. We can figure out what clean eating means if we really think about it. So the point being, if you're starting out, eating very clean and very strict to begin with is going to get you more results quickly. It's going to be easier to get into the habits than if you try and take a more moderate approach. Eventually, I think moderate approaches of being able to go out and enjoy yourself, have pizza and ice cream or whatever every now and then is good, and can also be very useful. the idea of having certain cheat days or carb loading days, etc. Again, it's a technique that can be useful, but only if you first have a very solid framework of a healthy diet. So this was kind of yet another roundabout discussion. I hope it was helpful. I'd be interested to hear what your diet is like, what you're eating. So if you want to drop a comment below, let me know what's worked for you. If you have any questions, it'd be great to discuss them. Thank you. Have a great day.